It's so funny. I've never really talked about this. I have never done anything publicly about my military ever. I've never done a podcast, really an interview, nothing. It's really been on the down low. So you're like the first person I've ever really opened up about.
I'm honored because that just is so fascinating that you can go from a life as a Marine and deploying to Iraq and then training Carrie Underwood. So I want to know the backstory.
It's so crazy, right? Like sometimes I'm like, wait, that was my life. Yeah, I remember everybody sitting on the side of their fighting hole thinking we're dying. The worst sandstorms, you literally couldn't, it was just mud. Your whole mouth was mud. You couldn't eat. You couldn't go to the bathroom. You couldn't do anything. It was the most miserable 24 hours of my life, of everyone's life. Our weapons don't work because the sand's destroyed everything. And everyone's just like sitting in their fighting hole thinking, what? And you can't see. I mean, you can't even see your hand in front of your face. It was terrible.
You join the military not thinking that you're going to necessarily go to war. And then you find yourself very much in war and returning fire. That must have been just an incredible moment to just take in. How did that even feel?
Had the best of both worlds. I've gotten to do 2 amazing careers. And I'm super thankful. And how did I get to where I am now? I'm like, I didn't say, oh, I want to train famous people. Never crossed my mind, not even a little bit.
I know I feel so cliche asking this question, but it's always the question that we always want to ask, which is, what is the key, right? We all want that. Even if we're not on the red carpet, we still want that moment where we're looking at the photo thinking, yes. So what is the key to that? What do you really need to do? You have this experience, tell us what we need to do.
Okay, that is the $1 million question.
Hello from the Heartland. My name is Jenna, and this is SmartHER News. News when it matters and why it matters. Our SmartHER series features unique people who help us think and live smarter.
So I want to start off, I have a funny story for you. So this morning I was talking to my kiddos about what we were doing in the afternoon. And I said, well, mommy actually has an interview with someone that I'm really excited to talk to. Her name is Erin Oprea, and she helps keep people healthy. And she's a Marine. And my 4-year-old Liberty looks up and goes, she's a submarine? I'm like, no, but just as impressive.
No, that's funny. My kids never said that one. That's funny.
So we see things very simply, but it was a cute moment. So I was like, I have to tell Erin about that. I probably first found out about you just scrolling through social media and, just looking at your social media account, you can get a few things really quickly, that you're a great athlete, that you're a mom, that you're an entrepreneur, that you train some of the most famous people in the world. But then I learned that you're actually a veteran. And I said, I have to talk to Erin about how this story came together, because that just is so fascinating that you can go from a life as a Marine and deploying to Iraq and then training Carrie Underwood. So I want to know the backstory.
It's so crazy, right? Sometimes I'm like, wait, that was my life. It's like, I almost feel like I've lived 2 different worlds that is now one, but it's 2 different worlds. It's so weird. I went from living, okay. So a little bit about my backstory. So I got married when I was super young. I was 18 and my ex-husband was a Marine. And then at about age 19, I was like, wow, I never thought about the military a day in my life. Never even crossed my mind. I was like tomboy, hey, let's try out for football in high school. I was athletics, but military, never. And then I was like, wow, that looks like fun. You get to go camping all the time? I think I'm going to join. He's like, no, you're not. I was like, oh, I think I'm going to. He's like, well, if you join, I'm going to divorce you. Okay. So at age 19, I went and said, I'm signing the papers. Goodbye. Well, we stayed married. He didn't divorce me, unfortunately. But so we stayed married and I joined the Marine Corps. I honestly, in my mind, I thought, this looks like just so much fun. And everyone's like, you can't do it. You can't do it. I was like, yeah, I can.
So was it as fun as you thought it was?
You know what? Was it fun is not the right word, but did I get everything out of it that I wanted to get out of it? Absolutely. My goal was to retire. I was never going to get out. unfortunately, through my divorce, they were going to take my kids away from I had full custody, and they were going to take them away, my full custody, if I deployed again. So I chose to get out. I had two options.
Wow.
So I got out at 9 years.
So wait a minute. So, okay. So you're 18 at this point. I mean, when you were growing up, were you always an athlete? Were you always interested in physical fitness?
Soccer. No, never in physical fit. Okay. I became interested in physical fitness at 17. Never. I grew up playing soccer my whole life. And when in high school, they would say, go run a mile. Like, that's stupid. I'm not running. Huh? You could do squats. No, dumb. Give me something real to do. Like, give me a ball. I'd never worked out. And then I graduated high school at the age of 16. So I graduated really young. And I started college, and I got really into working out in college. And I was like, this is really fun. And then I became a trainer at the age of 18. I got certified to train at 18. And I was training when I joined the Marine Corps. So that's kind of how, so I was certified to train way before. So at 17, I was living in California. That's where I'm from. I'm from San Diego. I was living in California with my ex-husband, and I just became engrossed in fitness, loved everything about fitness, and just studied and loved. And then I got certified at 18. And then the Marine Corps thing wildly came about, never a goal.
So then what year was that? What year did you join the military?
97.
So the reason why I ask is because it's before 9/11. So when you joined the military, did you have any thought that, wow, someday I actually could deploy to a war zone?
No, I went because it was like a camping trip. I literally thought, like, this looks like he'd go out in the field, and I was like, that's so fun. You put all this on your back and you get to go play out in the field. Sign me up. And that's how it came about. Now, I learned more than I could have ever learned so much about myself in the military. And I can thank the military for the person I am today. I think I am a night and day person, what I would have been had I not joined the Marine Corps. My success, I 100% contribute to the Marine Corps. It's the one that gave me the drive, the never give up kind of attitude, everything. I feel like that has made me who I am. And I'm forever grateful, forever supporting the military. Anything that I can do to help them, I would always do. I mean, I cherish the Marine Corps is like the best.
It's amazing to hear, because again, if you just look at the surface level, which we're all really getting a lot of surface level stuff on social media these days.
That's all you get.
But, it's also fun. So I don't want to, the surface level, but it can still be fun. It can still be, valuable.
Right.
But again, when I was looking through, your feed and seeing all these amazing things that you've done, I didn't put together that you could have deployed to Iraq, and you did that twice. And so talk me through that. So you joined in the late 90s, 9/11 happens. When do you first hear that you're going to deploy, and what does that even look like and feel like?
I can remember the day. So I didn't deploy for 9/11. It was 03. Was 9/11 01?
Yes.
Was it 01 or 01, right? 03. So the 9/11 happened, and they put us on alert basically to go. And nothing happened out of that. And then in 03, I can remember the night that we got the call that we were going. And I had two young kids. I had one that was getting ready to turn 1, not quite 1. And then I had one that was getting ready to turn 3. So I had almost 1 and almost 3-year-old.
Wow.
And they said, hey, you're leaving tomorrow. You're leaving tomorrow. And then we were off. You had to do a little bit of workup for it, and where did we go? North Carolina. We were in North Carolina for our workup, and then we sat in Kuwait because the war hadn't kicked. It was still like, we're going to war, we're not going to war. So we sat in Kuwait, and I think it was about a month, maybe a month. I don't know. We just did a bunch of training. We sat there for a long time waiting, filled more sandbags than I ever want to fill. I never want to touch another sandbag in my life. But so we did that, tons of training. And then one night they came in and said, hey, we're going in. That was day 1 of the war. And so we put on your MOP gear, which is like your chemical suit. and you were in that. How long were we in that? I don't know. Like, I wish I could remember all the timelines of everything. It all kind of blurs together now. I would say we're probably in our MOP gear, which is your chemical suit basically from head to toe, and gas mask quite often. Probably the first couple, maybe months.
Because, and actually just to even bring us back to that point, there was a concern. I mean, there's all sorts of concerns at that time, but there was a real concern about chemical warfare, that the weapons of mass destruction that people were talking about were actually chemical weapons. And there are all sorts of different expectations based on the conflict at that time. Mm-hmm. So how long was that deployment for you?
11 months. 11 months.
Were you able to come back, or did you have to stay there the entire time?
No. I was there for the whole time. Mm-hmm. So I was out there. So yeah, back to the chemical stuff. So yeah, you get the gas alarm, basically the chemical alarm, and you have to put your gas mask on, don and clear it, and then wait for someone to give you the okay that we can take ours off all the time. That happened 24/7. I have some really funny stories from the day we went into, it's so funny. I've never really talked about this. I have never done anything publicly about my military, ever. I've never done a podcast, really an interview, nothing. It's really been on the down low. So you're like the first person I've ever really opened up about.
I'm honored.
We were going in on day one of the war, and we're all in our chemical suits, right? And which is a pain to get off. And we're sitting in the back of what's called a high back, which is a truck with seats on the back, but not the big truck, like the next size down. And we're all sitting there, and it's a whole convoy. So you got one after another, and everyone has to go to the bathroom, but the convoys don't stop. So if you have to go to the bathroom and you're in your chemical suit, you have one person from one side of the bench and one person from the other side of the bench hold your hand while you hold, and everyone's taking their malaria pills and stuff. And so everyone's sick. So we're taking these, you have to take these pills over there. And so everyone's sick. It's really bad. And of course, there's a vehicle right behind, and you have to just barely pull your chemical suit down and just go to the bathroom off the back of the truck. It was very glamorous, very glamorous.
Wow.
While people are holding your hand so you can go to the bathroom. That was my life. I'm like, that's my life, and this is my life now.
That's a contrast. There's definitely
it is a very big contrast. So yeah, I was in a unit. My job is definitely a male-dominated job. There was very few women, and I fought like crazy to be treated equal as the men. And I'm a big one that I don't mind fighting for it. I will work hard to earn respect. Respect to me is not given. Respect is earned. And I worked my butt off every second I was in the Marine Corps to be treated the same. And do I knock the military for not being, like, everyone's like, women equals, yes. Okay, women equals, I agree. But women are different in the military. That's the truth. And I love that I worked my butt off to earn the respect from the guys that I was with, because there wasn't many of us. There's only 2 in my unit. So, I mean, I was with all guys.
So what was your job? What was your mission when you were there?
So I had different missions. My job is a field MP, so which is convoy security. So I did turret gunner, like the one up top that you see standing up top of the vehicle. That's my job, as well as convoy security. So you could be either a driver, or you could be an A driver, which is the radio person. Prisoners of war. So we ran a prison camp for a while. I did checkpoints in Fallujah during the big invasion of Fallujah. You know what? Here, let me just kind of explain to you how all of them, because both deployments. So I did 2 deployments. I feel like I'm just kind of all over the place because my mind is not. I got to figure out how to explain everything better. So my first deployment, I went over there. Day 1, we went in. So our job was, we set up. The mission was to Baghdad. We set up basically where they were capturing a bunch of people. We set up a really fast EPW camp, and we collected a bunch of people. We were living in fighting holes. We dug fighting holes, and we lived in those. And I'm telling you, it was the worst sandstorm. I've been through several sandstorms. There was one day, and it has to be like the first week I was there. I don't know what day. I remember everybody sitting on the side of their fighting hole thinking we're dying. the worst sandstorms. You literally couldn't, it was just mud. Your whole mouth was mud. You couldn't eat. You couldn't go to the bathroom. You couldn't do anything. It was the most miserable 24 hours of my life, of everyone's life. Our weapons don't work because the sand's destroyed everything. And everyone's just like sitting in their fighting hole thinking, what? And you can't see. I mean, you can't even see your hand in front of your face. It was terrible. So we had a prison camp there, and they would just drop off like truckloads of prisoners. And then we did that for a while. And then we went more to convoy security. And we lived in these little 2-man tents just in the middle of wherever. And then when we were out on the road, we would take, we just sleep on vehicles, sleep on top of your Hummers. And it got really cold at night. It was so hot during the day, but at night it got really cold. So we would kind of like all sleep really tight because we didn't really have covers a lot of times out with us. We just use our flak jackets as our pillows. And we'd sleep on the hoods of the vehicles and stuff. And so that's when I did a bunch of, I was a turret gunner for a 50 cal, like the big long guns, the ones that you change the barrels out, and Mark 19s, the grenade launchers, 240 Gauls.
This is blowing my mind, Erin, right now, because I mean, you can read that someone deployed and someone's a Marine, but this is serious. You were in a serious, very serious, dangerous, potentially dangerous role when you were deployed. I mean, did you ever
Absolutely.
feel?
Oh yeah. I mean, war is war. I wasn't an admin kind of job. I was just there with the boys. I mean, I was in the middle of everything, just like everybody else. So we did convoys, and I did earn my combat action ribbon then too. And that, to get that, you have to be shot on and return fire, and it has to be written up. So I got that during that deployment. So I did that for a long time, and you live in
that's very rare. I just want to point out though, that's very rare. Listen, my husband's a combat veteran, and one of the things he's talked a lot about is the importance role of women in his teams. You know, that even if women were not on the front lines, that they were very important to the whole team functioning, whatever their role was. You know, that the whole team was important.
You need everybody.
But I mean, to understand that is there's going to war, and then there's going to war being shot at and shooting back. And that's, I mean, because being at war is so diverse, there's so many different roles. So
absolutely,
you know, at that moment when you were doing that, I mean, because again, you join the military not thinking that you're going to necessarily go to war, and then you find yourself very much in war and returning fire. That must have been just an incredible moment to just take in. How did that even feel?
I don't even know the answer to that one. I would say it's more adrenaline than anything. It is definitely like, you don't think about it until it's done. You're like, oh shit, that just happened. Okay, what's next? Tomorrow. You know, like you don't think about it. I did take my blankie with me. My blankie is like my lifeline. Like I could sit and scratch it all night long. And so every night I come back and I had it in my pack, and I just like that was my comfort every night. And I still sleep with it every night. I haven't slept a night without it since I was 2. And so my blankie was like my soulmate over there.
And you've had those two young kids home too, that you,
and I didn't really talk. So the first war, when the war first kicked off, we had very little communication with home. We would get letters, like it would take 2 to 3 weeks to get them. We had those huge sat phones, and we'd get like a minute or two every 3 or 4 weeks. Like you just didn't really talk to them much. And then eventually they got email, but that was months into the deployment. Like I think I went 62 days and never took a shower. The first 62 days were no showers, just baby wipes. And we'd wash our clothes. We'd get a bucket and wash our clothes in a bucket. Dip it in one, dip it in the other one. But my mom was the best. She would send me the coolest boxes. I got the coolest care boxes. Like Easter, I was there for Easter. I was there for every holiday, but one of them, I got like Easter ears to wear, and she sent a bunch of eggs and filled them full of stuff. And I made Easter egg hunts for all the guys. Like, so we tried to keep things light and fun. And Marines are notorious for doing stupid stupid stuff because that's what the Marines do. And we laugh a lot at a really, like I look at, like we would take camel spiders, those big, huge spiders, because we sat on posts a lot, which is the boringest thing in the world. Anyone that sits on posts is, I mean, you just are basically just staring out in space. And we would battle camel spiders. That was our entertainment. They were like these huge spiders.
Right.
They're terrible. They jump. They're really cool though. And so we would battle camel spiders for entertainment. I mean, we did everything you could possibly think of for entertainment.
So at what point, let me ask you this. So you did 2 tours in Iraq. At what point did you lead the first female platoon attached to infantry in a war zone? Because that, I mean,
okay.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Deployment. It isn't it is. I think hopefully it's still a thing now. I actually need to study up on it and see where it's at. So everything I talked about before was my first deployment. My second deployment, I went over, we went in during the big invasion of Fallujah, which was huge. That was so I went 2003, came home for a couple months, and then I went right back in 04, came home in 05. So 3, 4, 5, yeah. So 04, we had the huge invasion of Fallujah, which is like the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. That invasion was. So we sat one night. We were running a prison camp in like just right. So they had the city, and then just outside the city, we had a big prison camp. And we were sitting there, and from helos, they dropped basically saying, "Hey, anyone that's moving will die because we are coming in." The U.S. did. And then you saw we sat on top of this building that we were on, that we had taken over. We sat on top of that, and we watched the U.S. just cut all electricity. Everything just went, the whole city just went black. And then you could watch the best fireworks show you'll ever see. I mean, Arty line was going on. The Arty line we were right on the Arty line. Oh, sorry, that's artillery, the big artillery line. And it was going off crazy. And you could watch the jets and the bombs going. I mean, the tracer rounds, you could see everything. It was so cool. Well, so we got a ton of prisoners, and then they said, "Hey, we need to open the city back up." After they they're clearing, they need to open the city back up. They needed women attached to the infantry to search, because infantry was running all the checkpoints. They needed women to search the women coming back into the city. Men were not allowed to search women. And they formed this group. Women had never been attached to the infantry, ever. I mean, my goal was to be in the infantry, and I wasn't allowed. Obviously, you're a woman, you cannot do that. But that was my goal. I was like, oh my gosh, my dream's coming true. Like, this is the best thing ever. And so they formed this platoon, and I was the platoon sergeant of it. And the actual job, searching it, was my job. But they pulled women from all different MOS, all different jobs. MOS is basically your job. They pulled women from all different jobs and made them part of this platoon. And so we trained them. I trained them to do basically searching and stuff. And every day we would go to a checkpoint for the line of people coming into Fallujah. And the stuff I saw, like I just have to erase it out of my brain. That's kind of how I live.
What did you see?
I mean, everything. Everything. There's bodies and we had like, where they would make us put people in body bags and drop them off at the buildings, at the hospitals. And so I just, so that was during that, but I learned so much. I learned, I laughed, I changed so much in that time. I grew a lot as a person, and my goal every day was for every one of the females in my platoon to be safe. And then unfortunately, when it was time for me to leave, I tried to actually extend and stay longer, because I know I had kids at home and I needed to get home, but I had this passion for this job. I wanted this platoon to be the most successful thing, and I wanted to change things. And I worked my butt off in it. And I'd go to all these, every night after every day, we'd have these debriefings and I was only a sergeant. And as a sergeant, you should not be in these debriefings with colonels. But because of what I was doing. I went to these debriefings every night, like what happened during the day, blah, blah. But anyways, I didn't. So I wanted to extend my stay like I'm on vacation. That's so funny. I wanted to extend over there, but there's only so long you can be in the war zone. So I had to leave. And I transferred over to this other girl to be the platoon sergeant. And unfortunately, they got hit right after I left.
Oh my gosh.
A truck of them did, yeah. And I don't know exactly how many, if any, I don't know how many died. I don't know.
But it definitely underscores how dangerous, it's war.
The whole truck. So every day I would tell, so you got in a convoy. At this point, you're in the back of a big 7-ton truck and your weapons outboard. Weapons outboard. And we're in the back of this truck. And we have a crew in front and a crew in the back for your security. And every day I'd say, we need to go a different route because we're going to get hit. We're going to get hit. And so I fought because convoy security was my job. I had already run convoy security in my last deployment. I knew enough about it. And so I would argue with people, and you get, human nature is complacent. You get complacent. You do day in, day out. It's like a job. It's like you drive your car, you get complacent with it. Well, when you continue the same route, you're going to get hit. And it was only a matter of time.
Oh, that's so horrible.
It was only a few weeks after I left, maybe a month. I don't really even know anymore. I wish I could remember timeline. I don't remember timeline. That was really hard for me.
I bet it was. And it, again, going back to that time period, it's easy to forget. It's not just you, Erin, as we're kind of sorting through the memories. It's easy to forget what things were like in 2005, what the headlines even looked like, what the news was full of. It was a different time than we are right now. And so that's an incredible experience that you had deployed to a war zone and making history, by the way, in your leadership role. So when you come back, was there a moment with that when you decided that, I guess you said you never really wanted to leave your service, but personal circumstances led you in another direction.
Right. And so then I made the best decision for my family to get out, for my boys. And I have no regret because I have an amazing career right now. If you had said, which way would you go? I would have retired. I would 100% would have retired. I love my job now too. So I've had the best of both worlds. I've gotten to do 2 amazing careers. And I'm super thankful. And how did I get to where I am now? I didn't say, oh, I want to train famous people. Never crossed my mind, not even a little bit. So when I got out, people would say, when are you going to get a real, I was like, all I'm going to do is train. I'm going to train. So when are you going to get a real job? How are you going to support your kids? I was like, don't worry, I'll do it. And so I would train. I'd get up at 3:30, which I still do. And I would get up at 3:30 and I would train as many people as I could. As I didn't have a ton of clients. I was, just starting a career again. And then I would go clean house. I started a house cleaning business. I was like, I'll clean houses. Oh yeah, I am a master of cleaning. It's a really fun job actually, because you
Wait a minute. But hold a second. You went from leading a platoon in Iraq to then training to cleaning houses. Did the people that hired you to clean houses, did they know that maybe just a year earlier you were deployed to Iraq?
No, I never really talk about it. A lot of people didn't know. A lot of people still in my life don't know. It's not really something, obviously on Instagram, I don't talk about it very much. It's a past, it's part of my story, but it's not like, hey, I'll say it on certain days, but overall I don't. Yeah, cleaning houses is pretty cool because it's instant gratification. You go in, man, I made those houses so sparkly. I was like, yes, I can clean the heck out of this house. I got this job. But as my training career grew, as I'd get more clients, I'd slowly cut back on one house and then I'd cut back on another house. And eventually I defeated what everyone told me. So back when I started the career I'm in now, training wasn't cool. It has now become kind of a cool career.
Absolutely.
Well, you got social media. There was no social media when I started training. I strictly built, I've never advertised. I've never done anything. It's been 100% word of mouth. And one thing led to another, and here I am. Now, was
okay,
I
but
wait.
I want to get to the not easy part, but I do have to ask you, one thing leads to the not, like there's moments in my life where like one thing leads to the other. Like I get coffee instead of tea. You're like, one thing leads to another. I went from cleaning houses to training Carrie Underwood. So we're gonna we gotta connect.
So Carrie wasn't my first famous client. So I was training, cleaning houses, and I started training Aubrey Sellers. I don't know if you know who that is. That is Leanne Womack's daughter. So I started training her, and then from her I went to training Leanne Womack. Are you familiar?
Yes.
Yes. Amazing family. From there, I went to training Frank Liddell, who is a huge producer, married to Leanne Womack.
Okay.
Produces Miranda Lambert and a bunch of other names. He's like the coolest guy. Love him. Love the whole family. So I still train them. So how many years? I mean, what was that? It has to be like, I don't know, up to 12, 13 years, 14 years. I don't know. And then from there, one more. And then Carrie's team reached out to me. And they said, actually, it was the weirdest thing. And I almost didn't go to the interview. They called me and they said, hey, we have a client we want to interview you for. And I'm like, I don't care, you know. I was like, yeah, I'll come. And then I was talking to my husband. I was like, that's kind of shady. Why would I show up at some random person's place without them telling me what it's for? I was like, that's kind of dumb, Erin. And my husband, the only reason I went is because my husband now, he said, Erin, you can defend yourself. Just go. He's like, you're fine. The opposite of what most husbands would say, right? And I was like,
could be a murderer. You got it.
You got this. Just fight him off, Erin. You got this.
He could have gone with you, right? I mean, he could have been like, hey, I'll drive you. I'll walk you to the door. I mean, we might need to talk to him about that. But go ahead.
That would be so funny because our relationship is so not that way. If he said, I'll walk you to the door, I'd be like, no, and laugh at him. Never. But so he encouraged me to go, and I met with them. Amazing. I met with one of the managers. She was amazing, and we hit it off and we talked. And I think they interviewed, I don't know, I think up near like 20 different trainers. And then they called me back for a second interview. I still didn't know who I was interviewing for. I had no idea, even at the second interview. And then one of the managers flew in from LA to meet with me, and met with her, had an interview with her, and then she told me, and then I interviewed with Carrie next, and then I started. That's how it went.
Wow. I had no idea there was such an infrastructure behind, like, figuring that stuff out. So that's pretty impressive.
Not anymore. I mean, at this point, I have a pretty good resume. Right. Not trying to say, not like, oh, I'm so good. That's not what I'm saying. But people can now trust me because I've been in the industry for a while. You know, like, so I've built enough of a trust that people know that I'm not out running my mouth. I don't talk about anyone. I hear everything and say nothing. And so, I worked with Carrie for 11 years. We're not trained together anymore, but so I've trained her for 11 years. Went to her wedding.
Wow. So wait a minute. So how did you get from California to Nashville? Was that?
So I moved here in high school.
Oh,
I moved here in high school, and then when I graduated, I moved back.
Got it.
But I graduated when I was 16, and then moved back. Got married at 18, and my ex-husband was actually stationed out there, and that's why I moved back, was to be with him. I met him on my senior trip. When I graduated at 16, when I went out there for my senior trip, I was like, I'm going back home. And I met him on my senior trip. And, well, there you go.
The rest is history.
We're married 11 years and then divorced.
And so the obviously getting a high profile client like Carrie Underwood, it can be a game changer. It's not always that way, by the way. Like it can be and it cannot be. So did that just start a momentum towards just more clients and a higher profile and enable you to really kind of bring your
So it was very slow because it was very slow. It wasn't like you get Carrie Underwood and all of a sudden you're just like this big trainer. That's not how it works. Like people think. They think that you get one celebrity and you're like, wow, you know, I'd been with already celebrities. I had been around the world, around that industry. And when I started working with her, it was quiet. It wasn't like I was out running my mouth and posting it. Actually, there was no social media at that point. I had no Facebook, Instagram. I mean, this was way before any of that had happened. I was actually super late to that party because I was not a Facebook person. I wasn't into it. And then it just like word of mouth, like she would have, somebody would call her, another artist would call her and say, blah, 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 blah. And then I'd work with them. But it was slow. I always say slow and steady wins the race. I would never, people want instant careers. And I feel like that's the best careers are the ones that are grown slow, consistent. I had one person tell me this when I was like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to make it. I'm never going to be able to support. My whole goal was to be able to do what I love every day and support my children. And that was training. That's all I wanted to do, was be able to pay my bills and support my kids and be able to train. And everyone's like, well, what are you going to do? Like, are you going to get a real job? You're going to open a gym? I was like, no. Why would I open a gym? That's boring. Why would I want to be in one place all day? No. And so everyone used to be like, why don't you do something bigger? And I was like, I'm doing exactly what I want to do. I'm doing exactly what I want to do. And then
why do you like it so much? What is it about that you love?
I wish I could explain that there is nothing better to me than when a client, whether it be a famous client on the red carpet or it's any of my clients, and they send me pictures and they're like, oh my gosh, Erin, look at, you know, they're on the red carpet and they're like, oh, look at the blah, 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 blah. They send me their pictures. That to me is the most fulfilling thing. And now social media with my Pretty Muscles app, people will send me all these before and afters. And I'm like, this is why I do what I do every day. This is why I do social media. I'm not on social media to try to be famous, pretty. I mean, I get told that I have the ugliest Instagram. I'm like, perfecto, then mission accomplished, because I'm not here to be pretty. I could care less. There's no editing. Everything in mine is as raw as you get. I don't change lighting. Like my team used to say, Erin, can we like do some? No, I don't need a color cord. I don't care what it looks like. Like not even a little bit do I care. I'm real. I'm normal. I'm human. And fame matters to me zero. And I try to explain that over and over to people.
So you've done a lot of really interesting things, clearly in your career. One of them you just mentioned, which is the Pretty Muscle app, which, by the way, was in production before we all ended up needing a bunch of apps to run our life.
It was out before COVID hit, and I was like, dang it, that couldn't have been better time. So yeah, it was out before then.
So this is a way that if you are at home and you want to access a great exercise program, you want a great meal program, you want more one-on-one time with Erin, which is all what we all want at this point. So, like if you want,
I promise I'm not that cool. I mean, I will be your partner when we work out. That is for sure. And I'm telling you, it has the best playlist because good music is the key to a great workout, in my opinion. So on the Pretty Muscles app, you get a different workout every day for the whole year. So it's not repeated because that's boring. And it's full of a ton of games. I have Tabatas, tons of games, and I will be right there with you, laughing, cheering you on the whole time. It's actually, I mean, I might be a little biased, but I think it's pretty fun. The workouts are good. If you follow it, it's effective. And it's either as hard or as easy as you want it to be.
I know this is, I feel so cliche asking this question, but it's always the question that we always want to ask, which is, what is the key, right? We all want that. Even if we're not on the red carpet, we still want that moment where we're looking at the photo thinking, yes. So what is the key to that? What do you really need to do? You have this experience, tell us what we need to do.
Okay. That is $1 million question. And everyone looks for the easiest way. We want the easiest answer. Give me one thing. Well, the answer is it's not one thing. The answer is you have to eat clean. You have to eat clean to get lean. If you don't eat clean, I mean, I tried for years. I tried to out-train a bad diet. It does not work. You have to eat clean to get lean. You got to work out to get strong. Make those pretty muscles, because the more muscles you have, the more calories you burn at rest. You know what? While you're watching your Real Housewives and your Bachelorette, you're going to burn more calories. I mean, don't consume the wine with it though, because then you're going to add them. And then you need to really, you need to move during the day. We in America have now taken this sitting mindset. Like, we'll sit and then our break is movement, right? We'll go walk. Where it should be the opposite. We should be moving and our break should be sitting. So we need to add more movement. The more you move, the better you feel. The more you sit, the tighter you get. And as you sit, like if you sit all day, you feel like, oh, now I want to move. No, you never hit a point where you're like, okay, now I'm really ready to get up and go. No, you're not. That laziness stirs more laziness. I mean, there is no question for everybody, because you never hit that point. It's like eating M&Ms. Is there ever a point where you're like, I've had enough? No, you have to push them away. And so it's the same thing. So it is everything. You have to eat right. You've got to watch your drinking. As much as we like to think wine is our best friend, it is not. You do not have to be a hero and rescue the whole bottle. You can have a glass. It's about portion control. Portion control. I'm not a wine drinker. I'm a tequila drinker, and I love some tequila.
Wait a minute. And so, because I've seen you do this before, the beet juice with alcohol. I know we're not here for that. I don't necessarily need to give cocktail recipes. However, now that we are spending this time together, what do I need to know about that? Beet juice. Okay,
beet juice. So I make beet juice. That's my pre-workout every day. I drink it twice a day. It dropped when I started doing beet juice, raw beet juice. They cannot be cooked. Has so many health benefits. I started it for stamina, and it dropped my resting heart rate in 2 weeks. It dropped my resting heart rate 10 numbers, and it dropped my run time 3 minutes.
Come on.
I'm dead serious. Like, there's nothing to sell. All I do is go in and juice it in my kitchen. Go buy a juicer, juice some beets, lemon, and ginger. It tastes like an off lemonade. That's how my kids describe it. Because the lemons take the flavor. The beets sweeten the lemons give it the flavor, and the ginger gives a little bit of kick. It's great for inflammation. Beet juice is one of the best things you can put in your body. So I drink about an hour before I work out every day for my workout. And then I drink it in the morning just for all day energy, like how people drink coffee for energy. I drink beet juice.
And so how do you shoot it? You shoot it. So it's just in like a little cup.
We keep them in like these 3-4 ounce mason jars in our fridge. They're stacked. And I just go in and I shoot it real quick. But you don't want to do it on an empty stomach. So when I go dancing on Saturdays, granted, the world's a little different right now, so we don't go dancing. But usually before COVID hit, my husband and I went dancing every Saturday from 4 to 6 at Whiskey Row on the rooftop. The DJ was the absolute best, and we had the best time. I took my own beet juice, ordered a shot of tequila there, mixed the beet juice and tequila. I always said it's like because tequila makes me super happy. It doesn't do that for everybody. But for me, tequila makes me super happy. Beet juice makes me super happy. Put the two together. I was like, this is my happy juice, and it's Saturday. And so we'd go dance from 4 to 6 and then walk home. I called it the Blue Hair Special of dancing, because we were home by like 6:30 because we live downtown. We could just walk. It was so fun. I can't wait till it opens back up. Beet
I think
juice,
that sounds
tequila,
great.
here I come.
I love it.
Soon.
So I read in an interview that you did that you're like, I do 10,000 steps every day, but like I'll do like 30 to 40,000 steps just walking around downtown. I'll stop and get some Brussels sprouts. I'll keep going, get a drink.
Thing ever. We did that for our anniversary. One day, our goal was to hit 65,000, and we did that. And that's what we did. We just randomly stopped at all different places one year, and we had the best day. It's great. It's great for bonding. It's good for your relationship. Keeps you off your phone. You communicate with the person. You have nothing else to focus on but spend time with whoever you're with. It's a great bonding experience, I feel like. But steps to me make me feel so much better. I like to go for 25 to 30 a day.
And how do you do that? I mean, especially now during COVID, how has that changed how you're working out? Have you adapted because of this sort of strange situation?
My jump rope's my best friend.
Really?
Yeah. I love that guy.
Wait a minute. So wine is not our best friend, but our jump rope is.
Jump rope is, right? You guys all have the misconception that wine and alcohol is your best friend. I'm here to tell you your jump rope is. And all you guys that pee in your pants, there are things for that, because you can either wear black, or there's these things called Poison Pressa. My husband found it for me on a commercial. And he's like, Erin, I found something for you. I was like, and he ran to the store and bought them. And now they can't buy them in the store. You have to order them online. But he went to the store. I was like, everyone, I need to scream this from the rooftop. Everybody needs to know about these things, because a lot of people don't know. They go in like a tampon. They're the best thing ever. They stop you from peeing in your pants.
This is,
I know
think
you can get physical therapy, but this is the best.
Okay. I mean, by the way, I think our second interview that we're going to do is with your husband, Sean. Is that right? Is that his?
Yeah, he's the best.
We're going to need to call him in, because we have a lot of questions for him at this point.
So he got them for me, and those things changed my world. So everyone, all you ladies that say you can't jump rope or jumping jacks or jump because you pee, put those in and you're fine. And nobody will ever know.
I feel like we're getting a lot of smarter tips throughout this interview. It's really covering a lot of ground, Erin. This is good. So you've been jumping rope. I mean, that's how you're getting your extra steps in. Like if you're not able to, I mean, I guess you can go outside clearly but.
Yeah, I get a lot I walk the dogs a lot. Right now, I just had foot surgery a week ago. So my steps are actually only 10,000. 10,000. Yeah, but jump rope's out. No more jump rope right now. Sure. So I'm hoping to jump. Actually, I just did it right before you. I did my first 6 minutes. I did 6 minutes, which is, was it just to see if it would hurt. So I'll know when we get off this interview and I get up, I'll tell you if it hurts.
Okay.
I don't know yet.
By the way, this interview, I just want to point out this interview is supposed to be 20 minutes, and I'm really sorry that we blew right past that. But I just had so many things to ask you about. Yes, but no, I want it.
Sorry.
Okay, but here, I'm going to, because I know you're busy. I know, and I really appreciate you've been so generous. And it's there's so, I mean, now I have like a 1,000 more questions, but I do want to ask you if you could give us a little bit of a sneak peek, because you actually have a new book coming out in just a few weeks. And I didn't want to wait to talk to you. So, but talk to us a little bit about, it's the Power Plate. That's what it's called.
The Power Plate book. Okay. Power Plate diet. So my first book is a 4x4 diet, and that is how I live my life every day. It's a lifestyle book. I want everyone to read that first, and those rules still apply to my Power Plate diet. But the difference in the Power Plate diet is I work on inflammation. Inflammation is what's causing so many diseases, and people are like, oh, my knee, I don't see swelling. Well, just because you don't see it doesn't mean your body's not in an inflamed state. And so it's all about inflammation, and I've made it so simple for everybody to read, because sometimes when you read about stuff like that, it's very much straight over your head.
Right.
I broke it down very simple. The Marine Corps, we say we broke it down Barney style, but I did. I made it a very simple read and an enjoyable read. My mom read it. She's like, holy cow, this is so my mom's on a weight loss journey, and she's like, this is a game changer. And I feel like it's going to change a lot of people's worlds. And I want everyone to realize that eating clean and eating the anti-inflammatory, obviously I talked about inflammation, the beet juice is an anti-inflammatory too. So it's not just cutting out inflammatory foods, it's also adding anti-inflammatory foods in. So a lot of people are like, well, I can eat inflammatory foods, and then I'll just add in the anti-inflammatory foods. Well, that doesn't work. You've got to cut out the one and add in the other. And
how did you learn all of this, Erin, by the way? Like, I mean, obviously you've trained for years and years and years, but you have a lot of knowledge to share. Study
between reading about nutrition, reading about fitness, and the stock market. Those are what I read about. I'm obsessed with the stock market too. I jump rope and watch the stock market on a screen for hours. But those are my things. But yeah, I study everything, and then I try. I always feel like, well, trial and error is a lot of it too. Like what really works. That's how my book, The 4x4 Diet, is. I found out what works, and it's simple. And I've made it simple, and I teach it to my clients, and I want people to still love life, because if I said go eat broccoli and chicken every day, come on, that's lame. Yeah. Like nobody wants to live like that. I want people to still enjoy life. I want them to learn that you can live a healthy, balanced lifestyle forever, feel amazing, but still have fun. And I'm not going to give up anything.
A little tequila every once in a while, clearly. Is
absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. I'm not going out tequila. So yeah, it's all about inflammation. And I want everyone to realize that, to not be scared of it. People are scared of like they think, oh, she's going to tell me I just have broccoli. Like, I'm not. I'm going to tell you how to eat delicious foods. And I have a full meal plan. And there's going to be a meal plan on my Power Plate diet meal plan. Also is going to go on my Pretty Muscles app. Different recipes than what will be in the book.
Awesome.
Yeah, so there's so much fun stuff. Like, I have so much going on. And then I just launched a legging line with my favorite company, Shop DIY. And it's a legging line today, but guess what? Soon it's going to be a full line. It's just slow. So I got a whole line of clothes coming out, and I'm so excited.
I mean, it's amazing. I mean, just to take us full circle, like, could you ever have imagined as a 19-year-old Marine that you were going to have your own clothing line?
No. So I was 19 when I signed, 20 when I left.
So what do you think is, I always ask people, as try to remember to do this. Sometimes they get carried away. You know, obviously the name of our news platform is SmartHER News. We're trying to deliver news in a quick, concise, nonpartisan way. We're trying to do it smarter. And so when you kind of look back on and reflect on this whole journey that you've been on, what do you think is the one thing that you feel that you've learned that makes you smarter, that you'd like to share with our audience?
You know, the one thing I can say the military has taught me, the biggest thing, is structure and discipline. I have an amazing amount of discipline. You know what? I'm up at 3:30 for work every day, and I usually work and work out until 10 o'clock, and my schedule is like this, but minute by minute, and I have it packed, and I get a lot done in a day. I always say I have 2 days in one, because at 3:30 is a coffee. I like to just sit and have sip on a cup of coffee. I don't really drink very much of it because I take it beet shots for my energy. So I do that, and I have a beet shot. But then it starts day 2. It's like usually all my media stuff and shooting videos, all that's in the afternoon, and then early is all training. Like writing books or working on the app or any of that stuff goes in the afternoon. And
could you write it down, Erin? Like, how do you, I feel like that's something that's always, is it just always written down in front of you? Is it electronic? How do you?
It drives everybody crazy. My team, it drives everybody crazy that I keep everything in handwriting. I don't want it digital. I know it's old school, but I have to see, I like that gratification of lining through it. Done, done, done. And so everything's written down, including this interview today.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I have to write it down.
This is the final question for real this time. It's more of a request. When we get through this period, which we will get through, do you think I could come to Nashville and do like a live workout with you for like 10 minutes with the SmartHER News audience? And we could do a little,
that could be really fun.
Pretty muscle.
Absolutely.
I don't know what it would look like. I feel like I need to start doing lunges right now. I'll start training now. And in 2 years, I'll be ready.
Truly, it's not going to be 2 years when we're done with COVID.
Okay.
Maybe 6 more months. But
okay,
yes, absolutely. You can come to my studio and we can have some fun.
Okay. We'll do workout, beet shot, tequila, and we'll do it in like 30 minutes.
Oh, donuts. We're going to wrap up with donuts. Are you kidding?
No, I said tequila. I said...
Oh, no. Oh, tequila first and then donuts at the end?
No, donuts. That will be... No. Zoom miscommunication. I promise. I will never touch another donut again.
No, I love donuts, man. That's my weakness right there.
Good to know in case we need it for future. Erin, thank you so much. This has been so much fun.
I really
appreciate it.
Quick, concise, nonpartisan, SmartHER News, a refuge from the storm. I'm Jenna. Thank you for choosing SmartHER.